Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Judith, how are you today?
I'm well, Khalid.
I'm so happy to see you. We're very appreciative of you coming out. So did I say your name correctly? Is it Judith?
It is Judith.
You've never had your name mispronounced in your life?
Oh, yeah.
You have? What are some of the things you've gotten?
Julie.
You get Julie.
Julie. I mean, that's pretty much how people mess it up. They call me Julie.
And how do you get Julie out of Judith?
I've never figured that out.
Okay. What were some of your nicknames growing up? Let's get right into it.
Judy Germs.
Judy Germs.
Yes.
Was that an affectionate term or no?
That was a elementary school bully kind of situation that lasted through middle school.
So it was derogatory.
Yeah.
Somebody called you Judy Germs. They were basically disrespecting you or making fun of you.
Well, usually it happened if somebody bumped into me, then they say Judy Germs and they touch somebody and say no gets.
And they would say what?
No gets. Judy Germs, no gets.
No gets.
Yeah, they touch somebody else, kind of like a tag thing. Judy
Oh, okay,
Germs, yeah.
okay. So so you hated that.
Okay.
That was not cool.
That was not cool, no.
Okay, got it. And that was your only nickname?
No. In the high school, it was called Butch.
Ooh, okay.
That was not a bad nickname.
Okay, that's actually a good thing.
It was.
So it's not Butch like we're thinking, the derogatory term. Of,
well, I mean, let me put it to you this way. If people said something I didn't like when I was in high school or did something I didn't like, I'd smack them.
Really?
Or do something else. Understand, I used to hang out with the guys.
Right.
So if I was smacking somebody, it wasn't like I was smacking some little girl or anything like that. I mean, I was
Okay.
smacking a guy who's bigger than me or my size, and just like if they say something I didn't like, I have a tendency just to backhand them.
Okay,
So then and I used to wear a leather jacket.
okay.
So that they ended up calling me Butch.
Because you hung with the guys. Got it.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Judy Germs, though. I don't want to skip over that.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Do you know?
Fat and ugly, my mom dressed me funny.
Your mom dressed you funny. What did you say, fat and ugly?
I was fat and
Stop
ugly.
it.
And I
Stop
was
it.
fat and ugly, and my mom dressed me funny. And that is not a joke. I mean, that's I was not an attractive child.
Okay. When you say your mom dressed you funny.
She made most of my clothes until I hit about 11, or she bought my clothes from this little shop that she liked, Hansel and Gretel.
Okay.
And I finally, at 11, I think I didn't have pants.
That wasn't where the cool kids got their clothes.
No.
Okay.
Let's put it this way, polyester stretch pants, and you name it like that. And,
Okay.
And so I guess I was 11, I finally said, I have to have a pair of jeans, Mom.
Right.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
like, at 11, I'm like, I gotta have a pair of jeans. I
Okay.
can't continue. But yeah.
So
Or she made my clothes.
So it was either so your name is Judith. Your most common nickname is what?
Right now?
Yes.
Oh, they call Jude is a lot. I get Judy.
Judy.
Jude.
And Jude.
and
Okay.
Jude. Those are my two.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in elementary school, middle school, derogatory was Judy Germs.
Yeah.
Okay. And in high school it was Butch.
Butch.
Okay.
That wasn't derogatory.
Say it again.
That was not derogatory.
Butch was actually a good thing.
Yeah. It was funny.
Right.
Everybody knew me. That's what they used to call me.
So where are you from?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Wilmington, Delaware.
Yes.
A specific neighborhood? Like what section of Wilmington?
I guess North Wilmington is where I grew up.
North Wilmington. Okay.
Neighborhood was called Windy Bush.
Windy Bush.
Windy
Okay, so
Bush.
you're from Windy Bush. That's what you would tell somebody from Wilmington.
Yeah.
Like I'm
I
from
live
Windy
Windy
Bush.
Bush.
Okay. Describe your neighborhood growing up.
Very middle class. Like, just 100% middle class.
Okay.
We had a pool down the street. Then we had a swim team.
Really?
Yeah, like in Wilmington, a lot of the neighborhoods had their own like neighborhood pools, and then
Okay.
yeah, so it was like a swim team, and
Were you on it?
oh yeah,
Okay.
I learned how to swim down there. I think I could swim from my mom. We always joke she just threw me in the water and I could swim.
So you were on a swim team. What did you swim?
I swam everything. I was really good until I was about 14.
So all 4 strokes? What
My
was
favorite's freestyle
your favorite is freestyle?
and breaststroke, but
And
those are
breaststroke.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I can do them all. I just happen to be fast.
So they put you in wherever. You did the speed, you did the sprints and not the distance?
Yeah. Now I could do distance.
Okay.
But back then, and I stopped kind of swimming when I was 14, I guess, freshman in
Okay.
high school. Because girls started getting really, I'm little, right? So
Right.
I was okay. I was the same size as everybody till then. And,
Okay.
then I stayed at 5'2", and the other girls started getting big. Right? Yeah, so.
Okay. Okay, so you were from the north side. Were you an only child?
I am a middle child.
You're the middle child. Jan Brady.
I guess.
So
Yeah.
I want you to imagine that you are right now 10 years old. How old are your siblings?
My sister is 20.
Okay.
My
okay.
brother is 10 years. I guess he would be 6.
Okay. What was that
No.
like? Well,
4.
4.
4.
Okay.
He's 6 years younger than I am.
Got it. What was that like growing up for you?
I idolized my sister.
You idolized her, okay?
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's 10 years older.
Right.
And my brother, the fact that he's actually still alive today is, yeah, it's a testament to my self-control.
He was the true little annoying little brother who pissed you off.
He was horrible.
Got it. Got it. Did you grow up with both parents?
Until I was, I guess 8 or 9 when they split.
Okay.
think.
When they split, you were with your dad or your mom?
My mom.
You were with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel like, first of all, how was the house different once your dad was not there anymore? Like, what was the difference between your dad being there and your dad not being there?
Fighting, I think. The level of screaming, yelling, and craziness went down dramatically.
Okay.
My mom and dad, they loved each other, I think, but they could not live together.
Okay.
There was a level of crazy between the two of them that was just nuts.
Example.
All right, so mom would get, my father was a neat freak. So
Okay.
Literal white gloves, check the furniture, check stuff, right?
Really?
Dinner on the table at 5:30 every night. Children sitting at the table at 5:30 when he walked in from work. And he would check, like, my mother was, she did what she was, what she had to do, right? But if he complained about something, she would lose her mind. And I agree, I can't argue with her. Like, she did, like, he would complain that the soup was too hot, right?
Okay.
Or that it was too much salt or whatever. And, I think she would, like, lift the table and dump it on his lap sometimes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well,
She did it on multiple occasions?
yeah, because, he would come in and he would put salt on his soup, right? Or
Right,
on his
right,
dinner,
right.
and then he'd complain that it was too salty, and she didn't want to see, she was like, well, man, maybe you should taste it before you put salt on it.
Right.
Right. And they would start drinking, like, when he came in the door, too. So
Okay.
there was always a martini or a Manhattan involved, and maybe 2. And sometimes if there were more than that, it could get a little bit ugly. I
Wow.
mean, I saw lowball glasses being thrown across the room at his head on several occasions.
Oh, wow.
And he'd
Wow.
duck, and he'd hit the wall, and, But, I mean, so the level of crazy when he moved out was,
How do you feel like that affected you? Like now looking back, when your dad left, or did it affect you negatively or positively? Because we talk about that. We say
yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, in some ways, because he never moved far. I mean, he only moved 5 minutes away. Like, he didn't move far. And
Okay.
My mother still, like, I mean, they still talked.
right,
I mean, it was weird. It was the weirdest relationship, and I haven't seen anything quite like it in my adulthood, which is good, right? Because, like, she would take care of him if he was sick, right? But at the same time, he would not pay child support, and my mother would ask me to ask him for the child support. Like, it was that kind of crazy. Just
Oh,
like,
wow.
Right. And stuff like that, right? And finally, I think I was like, no, I'm not going to ask him anymore. Like, you ask him. Like,
Right.
That's your thing, right?
Okay.
I don't care. She cared, but, he did it for control. He was always going to give it to her. It was just a matter of, he wanted to be in control.
got it. Okay,
But I think the way it affected me the most is I didn't really carry into my adulthood what it meant to have a good male-female relationship. I
Okay.
had no freaking clue, because my mother then, after him, she dated a couple of guys, and she always gravitated to alcoholics. My mother's first husband, which was my sister's father, he was an alcoholic. To the point where she left him after he pulled a gun on her one night, and then he passed out in the chair. She grabbed my sister, and ran out of the house.
okay.
Right. Then my father, and then the men that she dated after that, most of them were also alcoholics.
So where was she meeting these guys in
I
bars?
don't freaking know. I have no idea. I was too young to know, and I
Right,
certainly
right.
wasn't. And that's not something you asked your mom back.
But
in the
you
day.
feel like that affected your relationships with men? Like,
Absolutely. I had no idea what a real, Kelly, I've been married 3 times.
okay,
Okay.
really?
Yeah. I got married the first time when I was 18.
Okay,
To my first husband. I had no real clue what a good relationship was. It was never modeled for me, so I had no idea.
Okay.
What you accept and what you don't accept, right?
right. Okay, interesting. How would you describe your personal relationship with both of them, with both of your parents?
My father died when I was 14.
Sorry to hear that.
And I was in high school, a freshman in high school.
Okay.
My mother died when I was 23. I was a senior in college.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow, you were fairly young for both incidents.
Yeah, my brother even more so, but yes, I
Right,
was pretty
right.
young. My father was older when I was born. He was 50 when I was born, so when he died, he was 64.
Okay.
Not terribly old by today's standards, right? But he had heart condition, whatever.
Okay.
So
Probably exasperated by the drinking.
Probably. And,
Right,
And,
right.
and they didn't. Our parents, well, maybe yours did. They didn't work out. My mother had the same pair of tennis shoes for 3 husbands. She always, these shoes have lasted me 3 husbands. She was only married twice, but she used to say that.
Right,
But she
right.
never worked out. I mean, they didn't do anything to work out.
Okay.
They just, But yeah, I had my father is my father. I idolize your dad, right?
Right.
To a certain extent. But he was Archie Bunker. I mean, in
Okay.
the flesh and blood.
Okay.
And my mom was just, she and I had a contentious relationship. Still loved her, but she and I had a contentious relationship. I'll talk back to your mom, right?
Right.
As all kids do. And it's probably the reason I got that Butch nickname is because I was used to people saying things, and she would just backhand me if I said something she didn't like.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of. I used to go for the stomach though. She would go for the face. Like, not the face. Not the face.
Interesting. So you had an interesting dynamic with both parents, like
Yeah.
different. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you mentioned that your dad was Archie Bunker. Did that kind of sway you, or did you have your own opinions and ideas about other races and cultures?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I had an experience back in the 70s, which is unusual. We were.
Is that when you grew up, by the way? Is that
yeah.
your decade, the 70s?
I was born in 66, so
Okay.
like
Okay.
I was so.
Oh yeah,
right-
so you were a
right,
70s
60,
kid,
60, yeah, I
basically.
was
Right.
70s
Right.
kid, right. So we were in North Wilmington was predominantly white. I mean,
Okay.
it was. The first black family in the neighborhood moved in next door to us.
Oh wow.
It was great though, because they had a girl that was a year older than me, and a
Okay.
boy that was around the same age as my brother.
Okay.
Right? And I don't know, we didn't think anything of
It didn't matter to you that she was black.
Well, it didn't matter to my mom, so if it didn't matter to my mom, it didn't matter to me.
Right,
Does
got
it make
it.
sense? Like,
Got it.
because my mom was very, she could care less. Right?
Okay. Okay.
And Juanita was wonderful, Miss Juanita. So
Okay.
she used to take care of my brother after school, and it was. I don't know. For me, it was just natural.
What was your homegirl's name?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. Did you call her that, or did you call her Jackie?
Jackie sometimes, but
Okay.
Jacqueline was, Jacqueline and,
Okay.
and John. They were all J's. So the dad was John,
Right.
the kid was John,
Okay.
and then Jacqueline and Juanita.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were cool with the black family that moved next door. It didn't even matter. It was a girl your
It was
age.
a girl my age, and we used to hang out. Like,
Okay.
used to
Got
hang
it.
out.
Got
And
it.
that was it, and she liked music. She was a dancer. I liked to sing. I wasn't a very good dancer.
Right.
But, she used to go to Miss Anna Marie's dance studio. I remember
Okay.
that. She used to get But yeah, I mean, they were just, and it was funny because people would like, I can't believe you're sorry they moved in. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? They moved into the nicest house in the neighborhood, and they kept it, and they, it was, they did. The house that they moved into was probably, the people that lived there before had built on it,
Right.
built onto it.
Okay.
It was huge, right?
Right.
They had big ass pool room. When I say big ass pool room, this room was like 35 feet by 45 feet. It was humongous. You stepped down into this pool room.
Oh wow.
And the whole wall had a clock on it, and they had an organ, like a stand organ.
Right.
And Jacqueline could play.
So people were like, "We're sorry that they moved in." You like, "We love that they moved in." Like you don't even know them.
Right, like they were fantastic. I mean, Jacqueline was a dancer. She played the organ, and I don't know. They were. To me, I was too young. I think maybe to had too much, because I was such an outsider at school.
Right. Because of the
I
whole
didn't have
Judy
any
Germs
friends.
thing.
I didn't
Right.
have any friends. Plus, when your parents divorced too, like that's another thing. They moved in before that. They moved in before my parents divorced. But,
Okay.
I didn't have a lot of friends. So
Wow.
and so she didn't necessarily moving into an all white neighborhood have a lot of friends.
Right. Exactly.
It was great. I mean,
So it was
neither
kind of
one
like
us- neither one of us-
it was
so
kind
we
of like
had-
Queen's Gambit.
I guess.
The,
yeah. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
the black girl and the white girl best friends. Right.
Yeah, because we just didn't have any other friends.
Okay. Got it. So did you wind up becoming a parent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, I didn't
How
ever
many?
want
How many lovely? One son or daughter?
a daughter.
Okay. How old is she?
She is 16 years old.
She's 16 years
Yes, she
old.
is.
So with that being said, you know how your parents raised you, both of them, because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences between your parents' parenting style and yours?
Oh, I'm much more present.
Much more present. Okay.
And it might be just because my mom had 3, and I've always heard this. You're really not a parent until you've had 2, you know.
Right.
And you got to split your time, right? But being an only child, she's either fortunately or unfortunately, she has a lot of attention. Like, you know, it's like a microscope, man. You know, there's not much
Right.
I miss, right? That could be good, that could be bad. Like, my mother, shoot, I'd go out, she wouldn't even know when I got home. And that could be partially because of the drinking.
Right.
Partially because she knew she trusted me, right?
Okay.
She knew I was a good kid.
Right.
I was a good kid.
Okay. Okay.
And, but with her, like, it's different. Like, I didn't think I'd ever have kids. I really didn't think I ever wanted them until I hit my 30s. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I should probably have a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, but the parenting is very different.
What's different to the point where you were like, I'm never going to do this with my kids?
I'm never going to let my kids see me drunk.
Okay. Okay.
And I think she's seen it one time. I mean, it was only tipsy. I
Got
had
it.
one too many glasses of wine one time.
Right.
I'm like, ooh, yeah, I think I'm done now. Can somebody make me a cup of tea?
Right. And probably even then you caught yourself like, whoa.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Got it.
I've that was one thing I was like, I'm never gonna have my kid have to take care of me.
Okay.
Now that doesn't mean that when I'm 80, 90 years old, she better take care of me, right?
Right,
But I
right,
mean,
right.
like now, like
When
my
she's a
kid,
child,
my
right.
kid, being a kid, like under the age of 18, is not going to have to take care of the mother,
Got it. Got it.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of being a kid, I bet you don't remember all the schools you went to growing up.
And most of them.
Okay. Well, kindergarten, go.
Carcroft Elementary School.
What's it called?
Carcroft.
Carcroft Elementary School. Okay. Okay. And you did that K through what?
I guess it was 6, maybe? No, 5. K through 5.
K through 5. Wow. So you pretty stable. So first of all, you were at the same house your entire childhood? Okay, in North Wilmington, that's your family's house. Got it, got it. So K through 5 at Carcroft. How was that experience for you?
That was the Judy Germs experience.
That was the Judy. That was probably a bad. Oh, got it.
Excuse me,
The
yeah, that was
Judy
bad.
germs.
Mhm.
Okay, got
That was
it.
not good.
And kids are mean. Kids
Kids are mean.
are like blatantly mean.
They are mean.
And we say like elementary school kind of like innocently mean.
No,
Middle school
No.
kind of like intentionally
No.
mean. But
No.
even elementary,
no. They are intentionally.
intentionally mean on purpose.
Absolutely.
Like they were totally trying to isolate you and
Oh, this is something that it's learned too. I mean, I firmly believe that this is a learned behavior.
okay,
And we see it a lot in our world today, right?
right,
Kids, if they're, and back in the day, they didn't do it. They didn't stop bullying. They didn't correct it, whether it was the parents or the teachers, right?
Right.
It's a learned behavior. I firmly believe, like, I could have changed. I could have turned out much differently. My father was a bigot.
okay,
Like, not just, I had a best friend who was Asian, who was Chinese.
right, right.
And, like, he used to say things, he used to talk to her through me. Tell the chink to stop smacking her lips while she's chewing the gum.
Wow.
Right? I mean, that's what he did. Like,
While she was right
while
there.
she was right there, right? And, like, he would, even, like, we were Catholic, he was Methodist. My mother was Catholic, right?
Okay.
So he would, whenever we drive by a house that had, like, a statue, like a Mary, goddamn harps, with all their statues out in front. Harp is a derogatory term for Catholic.
Okay, I never
Right.
heard that
Yeah.
before. Okay,
So, I mean, this is the kind of thing, like, and music came on, turn on that goddamn jigaboo music, right? I mean, this was my father. I could have gone either way, right?
Right, right,
He could
right.
have. And I believe it's a learned behavior, right?
okay,
And, my mother, fortunately, was like a yin and yang thing here. I had my dad and then I had my mom. So
Okay.
I kind of got the good behavior from my mother and the bad, you know what I
Behavior
mean?
from your
My
dad.
father.
Right, right, right.
And he could swear, like, oh my God, just swearing. I swear a lot.
Okay,
I'm going to say that right now. And I learned it, honestly,
from your dad.
from my dad.
Okay,
Yeah, but I mean, I think kids can be they can be intentionally mean. If they see their parents being intentionally mean,
right, right.
if
Got
they
it.
don't have somebody couching them saying, be kind or think before you speak. If they don't have somebody doing that, right?
Right. Okay, got it, got it, got it. So you get out of Carcroft
Yeah.
happily,
Yes.
and you go where?
Mount Pleasant Elementary School.
Okay.
Mount Pleasant Junior High School.
Mount Pleasant, and now is that 6 through 8?
Yes.
How would you describe that experience?
that was interesting because the same kids, the Judy germs, kind of followed me, right?
Okay.
And now I'm in the same school with Jackie now.
Ah, your
You know,
your
Jackie.
black friend
Yeah,
next
I'm the
door.
same- So
Okay.
yeah, and so I have like two different sets of friends. That was kind of fun. Like I had her friends, like because they would say hi to me, and you know,
Oh, so it was mixed. It was black kids and white kids.
what was during well, she was in my neighborhood, right?
Okay.
So she would have gone to that school anyway.
Right.
There was also desegregation going on in Wilmington
Okay.
at that time, like 1979.
Okay.
78, 79.
Okay.
So that was an interesting time. It was
So kids were physically bussed in who weren't part of that neighborhood on purpose to try to desegregate the
Yes.
school.
Mhm.
Okay, got it, got it,
Yeah.
got it. So you had black friends and white friends. So you're kind of like a pariah, kind of almost, where you're on the middle line, and your black friends are like, "Why are you hanging with them?" And your white friends are like, "Why are you hanging with them?"
you know, I still didn't have that many friends, honestly, though. I mean,
Okay.
like, I still had the whole Judy germ, because, you know, and that follows you, right? It's not
Right.
quite as ugly when it gets to middle school. They're not, like, running down the hall, Judy germ, no gets, like they did in elementary school, right?
Right.
But you're still not friends. I mean, you're not, you know what I mean? You don't
Okay,
have-
okay.
You're still kind of the outsider kind of kid.
Okay,
Plus, I
got
was
it.
smart. And these, you know,
Yeah, that's also a negative growing
It
up
is,
to be
right?
the smart
It
kids.
is, it is.
So you had Jacqueline, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
but then she had all her friends too. So she was older than me. So that was kind of, they knew who I was, but I wasn't really hanging with them because you don't want to hang with the younger kids.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean?
Got it, got it,
You
got it,
know.
got it. It had nothing to do with you being white. You were just
No,
younger.
yeah,
got
younger,
it.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. So you were in a weird situation.
Yeah.
And then you said like it was kind of hectic at your middle school.
They had plainclothes policemen in the halls all the time. They had cop cars flying around the school. There was
Now, were the
constant
plainclothes
fighting.
policemen? I'm just curious because I wasn't there. Were they
Yeah.
always white? Was there any black ones?
Gosh, I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, my memories of police officers in Wilmington is a mix.
Oh, really? Okay. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
black cops and white cops
Oh, yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Po-
your counties might actually. I think they were always mixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So always plainclothes officers.
Yeah, and then the marked cars in the parking lot, you know, circling the school. And this was in middle school, right? So
Right.
It's kind of crazy. So, and it was nuts because the teachers could not. It was such a chaotic, and the kids didn't really want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't want to get busted out of their neighborhoods, right?
Right.
And then the white kids, of course, were having, you know how that goes. That just
Right.
It was just a contentious
All day long,
All
white
day
kids
long.
versus black kids.
all day, and then the regular just middle school.
Right. Shenanigans.
Fighting and stuff that had nothing to do with interracial, just period. Boys being boys, right? And girls being girls
Right.
and fighting. And, you know, so we'd have classes 20 minutes in, they'd finally calm the class down for 10 minutes of instruction before the class went to hell again. It was like, and this was every day,
Every day.
all day long. It
For
was
3
just-
years.
No, well, yeah. And I was mom, I said, I gotta get out. I'm not going to high school. I am not going to that high school.
Okay.
Which
What high school? What would have
would have been Mount Pleasant. High
Mount Pleasant High School? Oh, okay. So it's Mount Pleasant Junior High, Mount Pleasant High School. So yeah, you didn't want to do 4 more years of that. So what happened? Where'd you go?
I talked to my guidance counselor and I said I want to take the entrance exam to St. Mark's.
Okay, which is what?
It's just a Catholic school,
Okay.
and it was a boy-girl Catholic school, not like because the Chinese girl, she went to Ursuline, which was an all-girls school. I said,
Okay.
hell no. So I sent my daughter to an
Right,
all-girls
right.
school. I sent my daughter to an all-girls school, but I said no to me, right?
Right.
So, I went to I got scheduled for the entrance exam and
Okay.
got myself into that. So.
And that it was specifically because you wanted to get away from the Judy germs. Finally.
I wanted to get rid of those. Yes, get out of that. Just go. But the thing about it is I had to blame it on something. My mom and my dad were, they were split at the time.
Okay.
And the money had to come from somewhere.
Right.
Now, back then it was only $1,200 a year, unlike it is now, right?
Right.
But still, money had to come from somewhere.
Right.
So I had to blame it on. I blamed it on desegregation. I am not proud of that at all.
Okay.
But I said to my mom, and it wasn't a complete lie because the classrooms were crazy. That 20 minutes and then 10 minutes of instruction and then 20 minutes of chaos again.
Right.
There was nothing. There was no instruction going on. There was no learning going on.
Okay.
And I really liked school. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm a dork. I'm like a total dork.
Right. So
Yeah.
you were there to learn, and it was not a learning
I
environment.
was a total dork. So yeah, and then I kind of that's how I. But it really was. If I have to go deep in my heart of hearts to get away from those idiots, the Judy germ idiots, I was all done with that.
How was your high school experience at St. Mark's?
Good.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay. So it
everybody-
worked.
Well, there was a lot of people coming in there from so many different places.
Okay.
You know, everybody was, and, you know, of course, they're the kids that are coming from Holy Angels, or that already know each other when they
Right,
get there, right?
right, right.
But there was enough of other people that it wasn't bad.
Okay. So it was a much less chaotic environment, and you were able to learn and.
I remember sitting in homeroom and nobody's talking. Like, what is going on? And the entire time I was in school, there might have been 3 fights. That I remember.
Okay.
There used to be 3 fights every morning.
Right. Okay. In middle school.
Right.
Got it. Got
Every
it. Got
morning,
it. Got it. So you enjoyed high school. You had a pretty good high school experience.
I did.
Did you do any extracurricular activities?
I sang. So I did theater,
Okay.
and we had mass. So I sang with the little, folk group that did mass.
Okay.
So that were my 2 big things.
Okay. You had an actual interesting story about singing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So.
Well, I was in the folk group,
Right.
and I wanted to try out for concert choir.
Okay.
And the woman who was the conductor, concert master, whatever, right?
Right.
She said, I don't think you're ready for concert choir. So I was just in the regular choir, right?
Okay.
But so I was kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't feel like I was really, that she just didn't, I don't want to say she didn't like me, but I don't think she liked my voice.
Okay.
I don't think she liked my voice.
Okay.
So All-State Choir came up, and I decided I was going to try out. I said, screw you, I'm going to try out.
Okay.
And I asked her for...
Even though she opted, she wanted you to not. You decided that
yeah,
you
so
weren't.
I want to try out. So she
Okay,
gave me a
okay.
tape, and I practiced. And we go to the place to try out, and all of her concert choir girls come in, and they're all, they came in, and they're all
Right,
trying out,
right, right,
And
right.
the one girl's like, oh my God, my throat hurts. I have a little bit of cold today, like whatever. So I was the only girl. I was the only girl from my school that made it.
Oh, you got picked.
I got picked.
Wow.
So none of her concert choir girls got picked.
Okay. Oh, you were loving it.
And I knew why. One girl had a beautiful voice, right?
Okay.
But she was the loudest person in the room.
Right.
Well, you can't blend. They don't want you in a choir, right? We had to sing like a 4-part harmony with 3 other people. You had to sing.
Okay.
And that you need to blend with them. So if you're going to sing and you're going to be louder than all of them, that's not. So even if she had the most gorgeous voice on the planet.
Right.
But yeah, so when they made the announcement over the intercom at school,
Okay.
I didn't even know yet, right? And
Right,
I was
right.
the only girl.
I know you still loving it. You're like, yes,
Yeah.
that was elite
It
childhood
was
memory.
pretty good. And then she wanted me to join concert choir after that. But I had already convinced the guys that I hung out with, 'cause I hung out with mostly guys, and like junior, senior year, they needed a credit. They're like, God, I need a freaking credit. What are we going to do? I'm like, sing. Come join concert. Come choir with me. So, why would we do that? Girls. Duh.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I got like 10 guys to come and join choir. So then she's like, why don't you come to concert choir? I'm like, nah, my friends are in choir. I
Gotcha.
got my voice with me.
Did you work in high school?
I did.
Do you remember your first ever job?
I was 12. I used to deliver papers.
You used to deliver papers,
Yes.
really?
Mhm.
How'd that work?
Just they delivered the big bundle on my doorstep in the morning, and I would wrap them up, put them
Okay.
in a bag, got on my bike, ride my bike around the neighborhood and deliver papers.
Huh.
Take my
Interesting.
dog with me.
And you had to collect too.
Back in
Okay.
the day, we had to knock on the door.
You had to knock on the door,
Here's
collect the
my
money.
$2.
Got it. Where'd you work in high school?
I did a couple things. I babysat.
Okay.
I cleaned house, but that was great. That was good extra money. But
Okay.
when I finally could drive, I worked for a law firm. So I was a runner for a law firm.
Really?
So I would do all their mail deliveries, or I'd take their pleadings, all their documents, and I'd go around the different attorneys' offices to get them signed.
Okay.
And then run like hell to the courthouse to get them in by 4:30 when they closed.
Oh,
So I'd get all the
interesting.
signatures. I'd have the check, and that's why they called us runners, because sometimes you'd walk and sometimes you would run.
Got it. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you rate your childhood?
It's got to be like a 7.
A 7. What conditions would have had to been present for you to say like 8 or 9?
Well, I think it doesn't have to do with like money, because we never went on vacations. We had a beach house. We never went on vacations. It had nothing like that, right? It would have to do more with my parents being together, right? I mean,
Okay.
or at least having a decent relationship that wasn't kind of completely contentious and crazy.
Got it.
You know,
Got
I mean,
it.
I think that would be the only way. I mean,
So a more happy family life, basically,
I guess.
would increase your number.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I mean, because
A better model growing up of what a loving relationship should be.
yeah, I mean, because mom had to go back to work and all, I had to take care of the cooking and the cleaning and the taking care of my little brother. But everybody has to, all older siblings have to take care of their little brother and sister.
Right, right.
I can't complain about that crap, you know. Even if he was a pain in the ass, I can't complain about it, you know.
Right.
But like the other things, like the cooking and the cleaning and all that, I wanted to make sure that my kid didn't have to do as many chores. Not that she shouldn't do chores,
Right.
But I didn't want her to be responsible for everything.
Got you. So speaking of which, do you have a worse childhood day or moment that you would like to forever forget?
Oh yeah, I probably the worst. It's kind of a period of time, not a day. I developed epilepsy when I was a child,
Oh.
and I didn't know it. And my mother had left me. She left me home.
Mm-hmm.
I was home from school. I wasn't feeling that well that day. I was about 6, I guess.
Okay.
And she went to pick something up at the grocery store or whatever, and I had my first seizure. I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
She wasn't there, right?
Right.
I ended up calling a neighbor, and they, you know, I explained it to as only a 6-year-old can, right? But they had no idea what I was talking about. So my mother had no idea what I was talking about. So they all thought I was a little bit of a dramatic child anyway,
Okay.
right? So they thought I was being dramatic, and this really didn't happen.
Right.
So I went for quite a period of time until the day my father moved out of the house.
Okay.
And the day he moved out, I must have been very nervous and upset and whatever, and I had another one. But this time, my mother was there, my father was there, my sister was there, and they all saw it. So they saw what happened.
They saw it with their own eyes. They know you weren't making it up.
I was out. I mean, I'm like on the floor, right? You know, kind of thing.
Right.
Like I lose control of everything. And at that point, they realized, oh, that's it. And when I woke up and all that from it, because I'm awake the whole time. I'm awake.
Right.
But I can't control anything.
Okay.
Like my whole body goes, whatever.
Does it hurt?
It feels like your hand goes to sleep, your foot goes to sleep.
Okay.
It feels like that. It starts in the foot, and
Okay.
it moves its way up my body. And as it moves its way up the body,
Okay.
I can't move anything. So I
Okay.
slowly lose control of everything until I just kind of, and it doesn't. Doesn't hurt. It just feels like that pins and needles kind of thing.
Okay.
All the way up.
Okay.
And then I think it's like 5 minutes. They've said it's like 10 to 15.
Okay.
I can't really tell time when I'm in it, but I can hear people talking around me. I can hear what they're talking about. Right? I can't talk to them.
Got
I
it.
can hear them.
And there's nothing you can do for somebody having a seizure but hold them and make sure they don't choke.
Right, pretty much.
Okay.
You know, so but I can hear everything. I know what's going on, but I can't. You know, so yeah, I would say that whole period of time was bad.
So you grew out of that? No more seizures?
Yeah, I grew out of that.
Oh, really? I didn't know you could grow out of
I
it.
didn't either, but I did. Which leads me to believe that they weren't maybe necessarily truly epileptic seizures. It could have been more of a psychosomatic thing.
Okay.
But I did have 3. I think 3 total. I had
Okay.
one when I was 6, one when I was like 10, 9, whenever he moved out, like 9 or 10.
Got it.
And then one when I was about 12 or 13. I had.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you already talked about your favorite childhood moment, which was the choir thing.
Yeah,
that is classic. Every time we mention it, your face lights up.
Yeah.
Do you?
That was the best.
Is there anything in your childhood that you feel happened that affected your life forever, whether negatively or positively?
Well, I think changing schools changed for me positively, because not only did I get away from the Judy Germs kids,
Right.
but the teachers too.
Okay.
So now I could be smart, and it was accepted. And
Right.
They, that was good.
It was cool to be smart.
Right.
Right.
So that, I think, overall, if you had to think, the best thing I ever did
Okay.
was that, because that way, I wasn't penalized for being smart. Nobody called me Judy Germs anymore. I was just Judy. I was just Judy.
Got
and I
it.
could be myself.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
But bad? Probably boys.
Boys. Okay. Meaning what?
Meaning, I wish I had not, because I didn't have a good model of what a good relationship was, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I think I was too interested in boys.
Got it. Got it. So speaking of which, you mentioned that your daughter is 16.
Mm-hmm.
We take your daughter right now and place her inside your 16-year-old body. Would she have been able to handle it?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
No, the kid can't even clean the toilet. I told you that before.
Gotcha.
Seriously, like she said, Mom, how do I clean a toilet? Really?
Right.
Yeah.
What's your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life? Like, who is today's Judy? All of your experiences combined, the person you are today, the person you became. How do you feel like what's your overall perception of how everything that happened when you were a kid molded you into the woman you are today?
Well, I mean, pretty much everything. Like, if you think about it, like from as we talked about the relationship between my mother and all the men in her life, definitely molded the fact that I've been married 3 times, and had not really that whole relationship thing. Really not. Selection error. I am guilty of serious selection error in my past relationships. Okay, and I think that's because of what I saw growing up with my mom. Right.
Okay.
That is the one negative. Right. The other things that are positive, my neighbors, the Porters moving in, like the best thing, as far as being able to deal with different people, right?
Right.
And like just, there was never, I never thought of them as different. They were black.
Right.
But he got up and went to work every day. She stayed home and kept the books. The kids went to school every day. They went to dance. They, had piano lessons, whatever, right? To me, it was just like any other kid.
Right.
And that was good to see that, right? We don't see that. Right?
Okay.
We don't, I think, I just think we have that, we just don't know we don't know.
Okay. Got it.
Right? But when you know it, it kind of takes the veil away, and it's like, oh, well, they're just like,
Right.
They get up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they eat breakfast, like everything's, right? So that, I think, for me, was probably one of the best things, like, in childhood,
Okay.
And plus a friend. Thank God, a friend, finally, right?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I don't think that I would be the person I am today if I hadn't had the negative experiences. I wouldn't be as resilient. I certainly wouldn't be as independent.
Okay.
Like, if I didn't have, and this is why I see a difference between my mother, my daughter and me, because my mother, having to take care of her and having to do all those things, the housekeeping, the cooking, the cleaning and all, I became far more independent at a much younger age than my daughter is.
Right.
Right? And not that that's a bad thing or good thing, right? I could probably tilt it a little bit more and let my daughter do a few more things.
Okay.
Right? But it made me far more, like my mother called me her survivor.
Give some advice to blank-year-old Judy. So with being the woman you are today, with everything you know now, if you could talk to a younger version of yourself, how old would she be and what would you say to her?
I would say at about 12 years old is lay off the boys.
Okay.
There's plenty of time for boys in the future. You don't need to worry about them now. There's never going to be a shortage.
Got it.
Take care of you.
Okay.
Take care of your dreams.
Okay.
Don't worry that if you go to college here, that it's too far for your boyfriend to drive.
Okay.
Stop it. Just take care of you.
Got it. Take care of you. Judy, thank you for coming. We appreciate you.